That gets into another whole issue of how often we're going to rezone. I'm on the board 4 years, and this is the third rezoning. Now, the first one was 2007, we sat because we closed 3 schools. 2009, in January, we voted because we closed 6 more and merged some. At that time, we said, let's rezone all our elementaries to get them back into neighborhood schools. Obviously, it's not been sustainable. We say, oh, this perception, we don't know what we're doing. We're making it a reality. I really do. This time, it's really, I think we're chasing our tail on some of this, and it's not that we have control of all of it. Yep. You know, we've moved to a ranked application. That's going to give us better data on our magnet programs, but we won't have that data for this rezoning. You know, I'm almost saying stop, hold it, next year let's come back and redo this. But I really think we have to take a better look at this, or a different look at how we rezone and why, and other options. For instance, you say people are coming and going in areas. Well, if they're coming and going, maybe that's not a lot of stability that we should rezone around. Maybe we should use temporary fixes, like you add a teacher to the classroom to meet class size, if this is something that's not going to stay all the time. I just think there's other factors we're not looking at. We go back to the same reason for rezoning and the same method of doing it, which at times has worked, and during the years of the court order it worked. And it had to be done every 2 years with the rotation and all, but we're out of those things now, so I don't think that 2 years is something we should look at. I think we should look at something a little more sustainable and stable. And you know, we can't be doing this every year. It's not good for us, it's not good for the community, it's not good for kids to keep moving them around. 2 years. The problem with it this year in particular is we're asking the state for a baseline year. We're asking them not to change the rules on grading schools and looking at all of this, but yet we're changing the population, so it's not going to work for us. You know, we're not going to know why our grades are going up and down, why kids are or not achieving, and maybe they are and we can't tell. I mean, we've got to create some stability on our end that we can use as a baseline as well. And I have concerns about that in all the rezoning, you know, especially with this year and working with the state and a whole new game up in Tallahassee. We don't know how it's going to come out. You know, it's not just a money issue anymore in Tallahassee. It's also some of the initiatives that they're talking about. Class size, I think if we're ever going to get any legislative relief, it'll be this session. And so you're not going to keep revisiting. Eventually they're going to say, that's it, you're done. So, I mean, with all that in mind, if there are changes, and we know that, we can do a better job of our rezoning. So the question is, how much of this do we have to do this year that we can't do after we have more answers, like ranked application data, like this, like the new census data for that matter, will be out before next year. So you know, a lot of things are coming to us that we don't get very often. That you know, is data that we need to use in this decision making. So I just have concerns with a lot of it.
Well said, Mrs. O'Shea. The parents couldn't agree with you more.
I think Ms. Shea is on the right track there. You know, I would rather do things well and do it the right way, and not change things year after year after year. You know, and if we have to go to the public and say, listen, we're going to wait another year, well, they can throw some tomatoes and it's not going to kill us, you know.
Don't worry, Mrs. Clark. The parents are behind you, and we don't have any tomatoes.
It may be the kind of thing that we start in elementary and then work our way up with the rezoning as we gain more and more information and data.
At this point, it appears as though the parents and the board members are on the same side, wanting to wait until valuable data arrives in order to make a sound, sustainable, long-term solution to zoning. But then, what happened?
My fear, to just totally back away, might give a perception that that's that flip-flop thing again. Fear would be if we just backed off completely, then the perception is that we didn't really need it in the first place, that it was not true to begin with.
If you pass this and the state legislature provides any relief showing us that this may not have been necessary, your public perception will be much worse than it is now. You have an obligation to
My fear, to just totally back away, might give a perception that that's that flip-flop thing again.
To go to the public and say, listen, we're going to wait another year, well, they can throw some tomatoes and it's not going to kill us, you know.
Parents united together. We care, we vote.